Imagine a city like 1980s Miami or Chicago, but it's in India, and the government literally hires the mafia to run the streets. Welcome to Bangalore in the 1970s, and meet MP Jayaraj. Jayaraj wasn't just a gangster, he was a massive, terrifyingly huge wrestler who was working at an airplane factory. But he realized pretty quickly that building airplane parts doesn't pay nearly as well as breaking people's legs. At the exact same time, a local politician needs a personal army to crush his rivals. But politicians can't get their hands dirty, right? So he taps Jayaraj. With the absolute backing of the state government, Jayaraj gets a free pass to become the first organized crime boss of the city. He forms a gang called the Indira Brigade. He basically walks up to every bar, gambling den, and business in the city and says, "You pay me protection money now." And they did, because if the cops ever tried to arrest Jayaraj, the government would literally call the police station and tell them to back off. He was completely untouchable. He ruled the streets like a king, until he got way too arrogant.
It's 1977. A witness is scheduled to testify against Jayaraj in court. Now, normal gangsters threaten witnesses in a dark alley. Not Jayaraj. He wants to send a message. So he and his men walk right into the actual courtroom, and while the judge is sitting right there on the bench, they pull out machetes and brutally hack the witness to death in front of the judge. You can bribe the cops, but you cannot butcher a guy in front of a judge. Jayaraj gets slapped with a 10-year prison sentence. But the underworld hates a vacuum. While Jayaraj is locked in a cage, a new boss steps up. Enter Kotwal Ramachandra. This guy is a 6-foot-tall former sailor who literally deserted the Navy. He is basically the Indian Terminator. He takes over all of Jayaraj's territory. Jayaraj hears about this in prison and absolutely loses his mind. He gets released early in the 1980s, steps out onto the streets, and realizes his city completely forgot about him. He knows he has to take out the Navy Terminator to get his crown back. So Jayaraj funds a secret hit squad. In 1986, this squad lures Kotwal to a remote farmhouse while he's sleeping, and they take him out. Boom! Jayaraj is the undisputed king of Bangalore again. He gets so cocky, he even starts his own newspaper just to publicly roast the police and politicians he hates. But the game was changing. The 1980s were ending, and enter the banker. His name is Muthappa Rai. He isn't a street thug. He's a highly educated guy who literally started his career as a bank clerk. But when local thugs tried to extort his nightclub, he realized that he was better at being a gangster than they were. But Muthappa does something Jayaraj never did. He connects with the Mumbai underworld, basically the Indian cartels. Jayaraj was old school. He used swords and machetes. Muthappa was new school. He brought in imported firearms.
Muthappa knows the only way to take over the city is to take off the king's head. So he orders a hit on Jayaraj. The first attempt is wild. Hitmen shoot at Jayaraj outside a prison, and Jayaraj literally fights them off with his bare hands and survives. He is basically a tank. But you can't dodge bullets forever. November 21st, 1989. Jayaraj is driving down a busy city street in a white vintage car with his lawyer. Suddenly, a hit squad on motorcycles rolls up. They aren't carrying machetes. They have heavy firearms. The driver panics and crashes the car into the sidewalk. Everyone runs for their lives, leaving Jayaraj and his lawyer trapped inside. The assassins surround the car and absolutely riddle it with bullets. At 7:20 a.m., the Godfather of Bangalore, the man who built the city's underworld and hacked a man to death in a courtroom, dies bleeding on a city street. His death completely changed the mafia in India forever. It ended the era of street brawls and machetes and birthed the modern era of corporate dons and gun violence.